triggered my thought, that what are the different areas where we can use project management, where we can use AI tools to help project managers. I think I was seeing somewhere from the PMI conversation that if if a project manager uses the AI tools effectively, they can save on an average 2 hours per day. So that's the kind of gain you have, like you are gaining 25% efficiency in AI tools. And so it's not a choice. If you want to survive and thrive in the project management field over coming years, AI is not an option. So we must know how to use it. And that is what drove me to think about. And I thought I cannot do all things all by myself. So I just had a LinkedIn post go out that I'm planning to do this. Are there any volunteers? And I got a huge response. You are seeing only a few people. I think maybe 1/3 people are not here on this chart, but you have probably about 10, 12 people in the group. Some are very actively participating. The group where you see here, they are very actively participating. But there are some which come often and go, but they are also part of the group. And so we have 3 POCs. We thought, okay, there are 3 use cases where we should try to use AI and see what kind of results we get, and then share with other project managers. And we want to grow this group, and we want to do many use cases. Also, I want to do have a set of volunteers do some use cases in agile world and managing agile project management. So my goal is to energize project managers and see what are the use cases and provide something meaningful to other project managers who want to know, but they don't know what to do and how to do, and things like that. So that was the vision goal of this group, and I'm very happy uh, with what we got. So I will stop here and let Philip go and take you through this one of the POCs that the team did, and then we will talk about other POCs. Okay, Philip?
Yes, thanks, NK. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure and honor to be a part of this group. We're going to go first on presenting a proof of concept, but we've learned a lot from the other groups and how they've structured their presentations and what they're doing. It's a lot of really great collaborative effort, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'll also share a little background on myself, but first I'd like to do a survey question. You'll see the link in the chat box, but you can also go to menti.com and enter a code. It should be 79
Just give me my phone.
55934. Sorry, what was that? Someone had a question? Let's see. Yes, 7955934. And so we can do then is we should see if I could go to this presentation. So be up to date AI product in the broad project management practice. Yeah, AI info. Very good. More information about the many ways that AI can be used in PM. Excellent. So are you all seeing this, the responses on the screen? And then yes, here's the code too. See your take, learn more about applying AI in PM. Excellent. Yeah, and we'll have other questions coming up soon, some more opportunities to get your feedback as well. So we'll go to the slideshow. Our next free webinar will be on the Generative AI and status reporting. We're, I think, looking for data on that, and once we've solidified it, we'll announce on social media. So watch our LinkedIn page, our website for more details on that. So here's another question. What's your level of confidence about GenAI skills in regards to earned value management? So little to no confidence, some confidence, a lot of confidence, little to no. And and that's okay. It's something where I think a lot of people are just discovering that these are tools available to perform some of this work. You might have already been using Microsoft Project for earned value management or a similar tool, or it may just be learning about earned value management and how you can use it in relation to generative AI. So I see some people saying some confidence. That's great. I think that's where a lot of these are at. I teach our class on generative AI for project managers. I've run it 3 or 4 times, and I feel like I'm learning as much from the people in there as I'm teaching it because there are a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds in generative AI and looking for more opportunities to expand their toolkit for project management. So it's been really good to see. So this is our first proof of concept in the group about earned value management. These are bios of our team. So Natalie Gonzalez Brandlova is an SCM project manager, works on things like logistics and control tower, WMS, implementation deployment, strategic sourcing, process improvements. Um, Nevila is a freelance international project manager, over 15 years of project management and business growth transformation. She's a former interim COO and former sales director. I've been with RefineM for over 10 years and been an ATP instructor for us, PMI authorized training partner for about 2 years now, teaching PMP exam prep courses, our generative AI, some leadership skills courses, and my time with the generative AI class has driven a lot of my interest in this particular proof of concept because one thing I saw with inner value management exercise that we tried to do in the class itself, many times we couldn't get the right answers from it. We have an exercise that we set up, and so we know what the answer key is supposed to reflect, but it was difficult to get the ChatGPT tool, especially, to get the right answer, make assumptions, or so the calculations would break. And that was the one. Sometimes I would joke with our students, try this one out, but expect it to not go where you want to go. And so, part of my interest in exploring this further is to see what needed to be done, what techniques could we use, what approach could we take for this in order to um, get the right answers with their value management and um, prove that the tool could be used for this. And so, backing up for a little bit, what is earned value management? Some of you may not be familiar with the term, so I just want to give a brief overview of it. It's a project management, monitoring, and controlling concept that uses three key variables. Earned value, which is what is accrued on the tasks in progress. Planned value, which is the value that should have been accrued by this point in time. So it's a way to check monetarily where you're supposed to be at in comparison to where you are. And then the actual cost, how much money you're actually spending to achieve what you've done so far. So you can use these to track current progress in terms of the cost and schedule variance, like how far off are you ahead or behind on the spending and then the time aspects of the project. You can use the same variables to get the efficiency trend. How efficient are we being in achieving our outcomes? And you can use those to give a forecast. If we're behind on cost, then how much more is it going to cost for us to reach the end of the project? And how much more money is it going to take, or how much more time is it going to take? So, using these three variables, you can do a lot of really powerful things. You can get a sense of where you're at and where you're going. And so being able to use AI tools to achieve this outcome is really powerful. You can get a real advantage on a lot of your status reporting. And so that's where we want to go with this and why we want to prove this as a concept. Our objective was to determine whether generative AI tools can effectively provide earned value reporting. This is kind of a more basic approach. Our initial epics, or initial epic rather, we were pretty ambitious. We wanted to see about things like using voice commands to extract data for SAS reporting, see if we could get a various degree of earned value reports and outcomes in more of an automated way. But we kind of dialed it back a little bit and just focus on, can we prove can we use AI to prove that there is a variance on the project? Can we use it to show what the variance is? And then can we work it into kind of a rudimentary stats reporting with things like traffic lights? Some of the benefits, enhanced ability to get the latest updates instantly, efficiency of AI enhanced CVM. NK was signed the PMI research about 2 hours per day. We would estimate about, from earned value management activities, maybe 40-50% time savings, maybe about 3 to 6 hours per week. And it would definitely vary from project to project, PM to PM, just on what tools you were using before and how much emphasis on earned value you're using, as to whether you get that ballpark of time savings or more or less. But I think there's definitely potential to free up a lot of time, to minimize human error. You still need the human in the loop to check these outcomes and make sure that that they're accurate, but the time savings, the potential for time savings is great. So now we have a little bit more on why this proof of concept exists, and I alluded to this a little bit with my class and the exercise. So we want to show the two popular generative AI tools, one being ChatGPT 4.0, and the other being PMI Infinity, PMI's generative AI tool. Could these perform the basic EVM tasks? So there are a lot of exciting possibilities. In fact, I was working with one student in our class who was wanting to see if we could use ChatGPT to perform Monte Carlo simulations, which is very advanced risk management. And so I was really excited about that. I'd like to see how that bears out for him. The point being, there is a lot of ground here, a lot of potential. So what we want to do is start with the basics and then build up from there. So now we have the user stories. At this point, I'd like to pause for any questions, see if anyone has any in the chat box, or if you'd like to speak to that, that's fine. But any questions so far? All right. So these are user stories we split off from our epic. Story one is, as project manager, I'd like to have a fast answer whether or not my project is at or exceeding costs. So taking in data that we feed the tool, we want to know whether a variance exists on the project. And then story two, based on that, is project manager, I'd like to know my cost variance. We'd like to know what that variance is. So story one is more on proving that there is a variance using data that's fed in, and then story two is more about what the variance is. And then story three, building on those, is using the AI tool to assess project health using a traffic light system. So for story one and two, we'll have Natalie talk about those coming up. And then I'll do more about story three. I do want to again thank Natalie and Nevila for all their work on this proof of concept and on the slides as well. So we'll have Natalie talk about these first two, and then I'll jump in for story three, and then we'll have quiz and some concluding thoughts as well. What you're going to see in the next parts will be a lot of the prompts we used and then some of the results. And we've made efforts to differentiate what's in ChatGPT output and PMI Infinity output so that you have a good idea of how each one handled the prompts. All right, Natalie, if you're ready, we'll go into story one and go from there.
Okay, sure, Philip. Thank you. Let's see the next slide, please. So in a real life scenario, as you mentioned, we would work with either transcript from our meetings and or we would just type in our tools, the results that the developers we were using fictive scenario of project manager in technology company working with assigned team of developers who have their task assignments and provide a status report each day. So what we did, we collected the input and we played with the tools a little bit. We on purpose missed some critical information just to see how the tools behaved, what type of answers were provided, and we provided all the needed input and assessed. On the next slide, you can see exactly how the interaction was captured. These answers were provided by ChatGPT, who advised the project manager that the question cannot be calculated exactly because there is some information missing. So the project manager inserted the input received from developers about progress or status complete of the assigned tasks, but it was a plain information out of context, didn't share more on how were the tasks estimated to start with. So what is our anticipated budget at completion? And rightly so, the tool advised us that the calculation needs this value. So the next task, we went back, next slide, we went back and corrected the input. Here I'm showing the input from output from Infinity. Again, not providing the full context of progress. You can see in the second paragraph that Infinity went ahead and took assumptions. So it says, let's assume the following budget at completion for each task. We mentioned that the AI is not here to replace us, and this pretty much demonstrates why, as we did also other exercises, other testing, we noticed that it's really needed that a person, project manager who understands, still reviews the output and filters it, make sure that everything is accurate, that there are no misunderstandings or misalignments in terms of how the question was asked, and what was the expected output. So this would be one area that we found out that we need to be aware, making sure that the tools do not take assumptions that we didn't want. So Infinite AI completes how to calculate. And let's move to next slide, where I actually provided the estimates that were relevant, that were applicable. This is an example, again, back to ChatGPT. Now, within the context of my estimates that I have assigned for the tasks, and ChatGPT first explains the calculation itself, then summarizes the input that I provided, and on the next slide, step by step, it walks us through the calculation. So it walks us through how planned value was calculated and value was calculated, and what the conclusion is. It informs me that I'm over budget, and suggests next steps that can be taken for project assessment. So this is the full result out of ChatGPT, and on the next slide we have the full result for PMI Infinity. You see that it is sorted slightly, it is briefer, sorted slightly differently. The terminology is more aligned, what we noticed with the PMBOK methodology, and we received the same answer that our project is over budget. By how much? So this would conclude our story user story number 1, and we assessed it as passing acceptance criteria because the responses were received very accurate, were received very quickly, and it was what we would have expected. I can pause if there are questions, and if not, we can continue into story number 2. No questions.
Any questions? All right. So then, and then another recap of our conclusions. And they'll have more to say on this too when story 3. Some of the sources that are provided by PMI Infinity are really interesting, giving you opportunities to follow up. All right. So story 2, and go ahead, Natalie.
Story 2. We elaborated a little bit on the input. So it would be more applicable for situation that we have bigger projects and we wanted to start testing also if the input is more robust than meeting minutes, how the tools would behave. So what I did was I had effective list of tasks. There were 15 probably, and I had estimates for all of them, and some of my tasks were in progress and some of them were waiting in planned status. So I pasted the table into PMI Infinity. So if the tool was able to understand it, it took the input very well. And it advised me that it cannot calculate the cost performance index or cost variance on the project as a whole, because some of my tasks were in planned status only. Again, it provided me with the basics. How will I calculate it when my table is complete with information. So on the next slide, I continued prompting and asked the tool to calculate it for all the tasks that are in progress and to leave out the planned tasks from the calculations, which it did. It's very text heavy, so it provides me CPI on the task level, SPI on the task level, and one more call out that I would like to make here is if you read the last sentence, it advises me that some tasks are over budget if CPI is under 1, and that then it provides to me another piece of information that that one of my tasks called user acceptance task is significantly over budget. CPI is 1.88, which was an actual bug that we caught. It was an error. So it's another situation where you as a project manager would raise your hand and obviously would need to assess, use common sense and say, oh, this is not correct. You can further communicate with the tool to get clarification, or you can just know and in your output report for others correct that piece of information. So you can continue on the next slide to see how you can really benefit from the tools and ask the information to be sorted out in easier to read output, which the tools can provide. The tools can organize the information in the format of table and add not only the CPI, but add, for example, the variance if you request it. So it is documented on the next slide how I saw that in case of Infinity, I didn't see the actual variance, and in case of ChatGPT, I didn't see the CPI piece of information. So I requested both tools to edit, and it was done in a matter of seconds. So overall, the work is done really quickly. It can work with the inputs that a project manager typically has. And I agree with what Philip and many others mentioned, that it can make our work more efficient. I believe that this would conclude my user stories.
Excellent. Thanks, Natalie. Does anyone have any questions on anything we've covered so far? Okay, so proceed story 3. So this is where we want to see, given that the AI tools have given us the status information, can we use a status indicator like a traffic light system? Typically, it would be if something's green, that means cost and schedule are proceeding as planned. Yellow means that an indicator is lagging but is recoverable. And red means that one or both indicators are lagging and can no longer be met. So if you have a red, that means there needs to be some sort of project plan adjustment, maybe a change request. For the purposes of this, we fed it a cost variance, the set of criteria for whether something should be yellow or red. And so our test was the lower sample project, confirmed that the LLM, or the large language model, in this case, a tool like ChatGPT or Infinity, correctly parses and returns the information, and then ask it to flag whether the project and the tasks are green, yellow, or red. And so we were able to achieve this in both PMI Infinity and ChatGPT, and we'll show the results. So this is following on from Natalie. So she prompted with the traffic light system, and then can you assess the health of my project? And so it goes a little further into the ones that are over budget and the variances. So these development tasks are the ones where there's significant budget overruns and probably corrective action needed. And so we followed up on that to ask it to return the health assessment. So budget came back with red traffic lights, as you can see here, but schedule overall completion is only about 70%. So while some tasks were on budget and schedule, others were over, but the key development tasks are really putting the project at risk. So it gives an overall of yellow based on the budget and schedule information. But we wanted to see if we could go a little bit further with this. So is there a way to do color coding and then show shaded rows according to the traffic status? So TMI Infinity achieved this. It flagged what was green, what was red, and what was yellow. So these reds is particularly with development tasks, showing a lot of need for corrective action here. And then Infinity also provides some sources and suggestions. This is something that the PMI Infinity tool provides by default. They're plugged into a lot of the PMI standards, like the PMBOK guide, Agile Practice Guide. Here it also provides a standard for portfolio management, which has some more information about earned value management. It also plugs into some third-party databases that provide information in addition to PMI. With ChatGPT, you can also get this information. You can ask it to provide rationale or sources for the information it's giving you, and it will return what it's giving. So that can be a useful step to double check some of the information that you get from ChatGPT if you're looking for just a way to validate that what's coming back is correct, just by getting the basis for it. So that's a neat trick, I think, for with ChatGPT in particular, but PMI Infinity already does this. So I think that's a really good value add for PMI Infinity. I tried uploading a different set of tasks for ChatGPT, and one thing I ran into is with the free version, there are some daily limits on specific tasks. So that's a useful insight for if you're going to do a lot of this data analysis work within ChatGPT. You'll probably want to pay for the paid version, which I think is, I don't remember offhand how much it is per month, but it unlocks a lot of the limits. So for example, when I upload this
It is
CSV of
$20 per month, Phillip.
20 a month. That's what I thought it was, around a ballpark around that. But if you're going to put in a lot of data at once, like this CSV I uploaded had 6 tasks, but it only took the first 5. And then I ran into the daily limitation. So for this, it summed up the values for the earned value, AC, and the planned value. And it gave the cost variance and schedule variance. So total cost variance is -850, total schedule variance is -250. And then this was the prompt I used. So the project says uses a traffic light system. And so in this prompt, I ended up going with -5, up to -5% is yellow, below -5% is red. So if it's -6, 7, 8, 9, beyond, that would all be red. And so we see here the calculated schedule variance percentage is 5%. So that falls within yellow, close to red. Cost variance falls significantly into red. It's -17%. And so it returns based on traffic light system that were red on cost variance and yellow on schedule variance. I also asked it to provide the color codes, and it gave me something similar. It gave me these the lights themselves on each task, and then a legend based on the criteria that I fed it. And then for the total project, it says red for cost variance, yellow for schedule variance. We have this one, task E, is red on both. So this is definitely a trouble spot that corrective action would be needed here. A, also because there's red cost variance, even though the schedule variance is green. So as you see, and asking to present in a table format and shade using color codes, this, I think, is a powerful example of a technique known as prompt chaining, which was expanded on by PMI in one of their recent courses, the prompt engineering course for AI. A good way to approach a complex problem like this with an AI tool, generative AI tool, is to break it down to simple parts. So first, just prove that it can give you these variables and that they're correct, and then ask it to provide a table format so you can see more closely some of the anomalies in the data, see where things are most far off, and then ask it to provide some color coding so this can help present it to other stakeholders. If you're going to run this as a status report, it may not give you everything at the first go round, but then ask the simple steps and then keep building on that to break down the problem basically into solvable chunks. And so I think that's a really powerful approach to take for using prompts to get what you want out of the tools. So these are some of our main takeaways. We were able to meet the acceptance criteria for all stories. It did require techniques like prompt chaining to break down the complex tasks into more simple requests. And so if you're looking at using AI to tackle a complex problem, that can be the first place to start. Is how can you split this into something that you can get more consistent results out of each part of it, and then just use those together to build up to what you're looking for. You can also ask it to explain its rationale behind something, like for that 1.88 CPI being under budget, you can ask what's the rationale for that being considered over budget, and then it may come back with a correction or more reasoning. So you can work with the tools like this and get a better idea of what's of how they're figuring this stuff out, and then use that to get closer to what you want. We found that PMI Infinity worked really well for this project management related work because it's trained on the concepts and the data from PMI. So it offered sources for further exploration. It was more aligned with PMBOK terminology and methodology, and typically just more suitable for the project management context. I did find that ChatGPT was a little easier to use with file attachments. It's more straightforward to access the mechanism for doing it. You just click the paperclip to the left of the message and upload something, and then say something like, "I've uploaded this CSV file. Can you please interpret the results?" And once it has that priming, it does a really good job of interpreting the data. Uh, Even with that, we had to follow up to obtain insight on the sources, and then also um, the daily limits for the free version were hit pretty quickly. So if you're going to do some really deep work with it or analyze a lot of data, you might want to go for the paid version. A little bit more on the conclusion. So we compare and contrasted some of the features and chat with ChatGPT and PMI Infinity. Um, but with both, we did get a good explanation, we felt, of the approach, the calculation, the answers, and it did meet the acceptance criteria. Are there any questions on this or anything we covered so far? All right, so now we have a quiz, and so this is made just for fun. I have 3 questions here related to some of what we covered on the slides. So let me open that up, and if you type this code, okay, I see 3 players already. So I'll let everyone join up, and I'll give about 15 more seconds for. Okay, yeah, we have 7 players, 8. Has anyone not joined yet who wants to participate in the quiz? All right, so let's go ahead and start with question 1. So you answer, the faster you answer, the more points you get. And so you'll see on your device the choices here. So which of all is not an earned value management variable? Okay, so it should be showing the, oh, it didn't load the result. Here we go. So net promoter score is the one that's not. Planned value and actual cost are part of it, so PV and AC. But the net promoter score works off of customer satisfaction. So we'll see a leaderboard. So we had 5 answers, and Bell is in the lead, followed by TT and then Scott and Sala. Very good. Question 2. All right, got everyone ready? So which of following is not one of the tools we use in the proof of concept? So there are 2 that we talked about, and then there's a third one that was not used. Yep, Dolly is related to ChatGPT. It's used for images, and so that's one that we didn't use. All right, so Bell's still in the lead, but now we have a little bit of shakeup. So we have Scott and Sala. So heading into the last question here. So we looked at some advantages and disadvantages of ChatGPT, and which one was the advantage of ChatGPT? And that was the one we saw. And with these others were more related to PMI Infinity, so offering sources and more aligned with PMBOK terminology. All right, so let's see who won the quiz. Oh, it's a close one. Looks like Bella's our winner. So congratulations, and if you will reach out to us after chat, you can reach us at I'll put our link in the chat box. All right, and then We also have a scale of 1 to 10. How strongly would you recommend this webinar to others? Based on, excellent. Yeah, I'm always happy to see a 10. Yeah, and definitely feel free to reach out to us if you have any feedback on the webinar, anything we could did well or could have done better. We're always looking for other feedback. So let me go back to the slides here and open up again for any questions that anyone has. At this point, if you'd like to use your mics, that's fine too.
So you did feed like CSV or Excel data into it as well, correct? Is that what I understood?
Yes, for ChatGPT and then also for PMI Infinity, there was a method for uploading the file and having it interpreted. So you can structure data if you like to help arrive at the what you're looking for. Great. Does that help with your question? Any other questions?
That answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Phillip, this is Scott. Did you have a favorite of the two? I mean, talked about the advantages, but was one or the other a favorite to use?
It's hard to say. In a lot of my original classes, we just used ChatGPT because PMI Infinity was still in beta and not as well advertised. I've now started using PMI Infinity and ChatGPT in the classes. I think a lot of it is just what you're going for. And if you're using a project management task or trying to do something like this with EVM, it might even be a good idea to try something in both tools and just see what it gives you. I did this notice that as far as getting toward the undervalued concepts, that Infinity already was really well trained on that data. So I think it can be a good starting point, but both could potentially work really well.
Yeah, and Scott, I will add that I think the key part there is how do you use the tool, and then you can figure out yourself. So what kind of prompts you provide to the tool, what kind of questions you ask, and what kind of in what form you want to see the results. So I think, and both tools are going to improve as we go. Both tools. So the advantage with Infinity is, I think, if you compare free Chat GPT and Infinity free for the PMI members, it's not free for everybody. Chat GPT is free for everybody. So if you compare the two, then I am hoping that PMI, we provide feedback to PMI and PMI's tool improve, specifically for project management. That's my thinking. Chat GPT is still very generic. It can provide you answers for any subject. So I think right now, as Phillip was saying, try both. Right now, there is no clear winner or recommended, but I'm hoping that over a period of time, Infinity may become a preferred choice for project managers. But right now, they are both same.
Okay, thanks for the perspective. Appreciate that.
There are some other tools that we'll see in some of the upcoming proofs of concept. I know one group was using Claude, and I can't remember offhand the name of the company that runs Claude, but it's good for a lot of parsing text responses. So if you're asking it to do a memo or maybe a project report, something more qualitative, it works really well with the natural language, getting closer to like how you might structure a memo or something like that. So that's another good one. CLAUDE Claude.
Yeah, and also I think one of the major downside is the security. So
Yes.
this is this is like we created a use case or test case, if you would like, and gave some dummy data for this to show the capability. But if you want to use it in your real project, you have to actually supply it with your real plans, real project documents. And if you have ChatGPT or Infinity, it just goes out of the company unless you have something installed for your thing. And keeping in mind that my partner company in India has developed two AI tools, and I can demo it to you or your company. One tool is that it can connect to one or multiple databases in the company, and you can do query in natural language. So you don't have to know SQL, you don't have to know, you don't have to be a techie like a project manager or a scrum master. If you are want to do a query to Jira in a natural language, like you do with ChatGPT, you can do with that tool, and that tool is installed for you in your company network. So you don't have that security issue. So they have, and that there are two tools. One goes against databases, other goes against the documents. So if you have documents stored, if you have a document library on your SharePoint or something like that, that you can query your documents in natural language and it can respond. So we see a need for a ChatGPT Infinity kind of a tool that solves the security problem. So these tools are good for doing, exercising this. I'm thinking that the technology will evolve and they will overcome some of the security issues. But certain organizations that have sensitive data, like financial organizations or insurance organization, banking, and all those kind of organizations, they are very, very particular about security. I remember we were trying to implement a project management tool for one of the insurance companies, and their IT rejected the cloud version of the tool because they said we cannot expose our data to this tool in the cloud, and they did not implement that tool. So I think security is something that is kind of a little bit challenge for project managers to use in real life on real projects. So my team here has done something, and that can be implemented in your environment. So if any one of you is interested in learning more about those tools, let me know.
Yeah, and I could attest to there's definitely some exciting things going on with like the natural language for database queries and getting things from documents. And the security part is important. And there's a lot of work being done on that to try like obscure data or just put it in an environment where it's not going to get out and be exposed. All right, we have about 5 minutes before the top of the hour. If anyone has any questions, I've also put up the slide for how to find the PDUs, and we will be sending anyone who's had registered on our website for the webinar will get a link to download the slides when they're available. And then also, I've recorded the session, so we'll have the video available. I appreciate everyone's time today. I'm glad to get some feedback on this, and we're hoping to present this to projectmanagement.com as well further down the line. So having an expanded audience to share our findings. Any other questions or any other comments? Anything anyone has?
Good job, Phillip and team.
All right. Thank you. NK, anything else you want to make sure I cover today?
You're muted, NK.
And then Natalie, Nevila, anything you want to add also?
Oh, thank you to all participants and to NK that he started this initiative. Thank you.
Yeah, I also already wanted to say thank you for Philip and Natalie. That has been a great experience collaborating with you in such projects. And thanks, NK, for allowing me to explore further these modern project management, artificial intelligence tools. Thanks a lot. It was a great experience. I encourage anyone who wants to participate to contact NK.
Thank you. And just to know that our other two teams are working on the other two POCs, and you will hear from them in the coming weeks. So stay tuned, and we'll have an exciting the status report and risk management areas, and we will explore more areas as we go. So it is exciting, very exciting.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.